Stand right, Meds! Stand right, Meds!
What I'm astonished. Oh, caught me unawares. This is only purely medicinal drinking.
Is it again? Another week on the Stampers?
I don't know if anybody's watching. I don't know. but we're not lushy here. We might be a little bit lushy, but I have to say that I've worked it out that I like Chablis, I do, but I prefer Montrachet, of course, because I've got expensive tools. Hello, Chris. Nice to see you, sweetheart. And I was thinking that. So I've always liked these white wines, and so I've started drinking Macon Village. Now, if for the discerning taste, Macon Village has got slightly more rounded and more. It's got, I think, but whereas Chablis is a little bit lighter on the palate. This Macon Village, it's about £4 a bottle cheaper as well. Decent, perhaps even £5. Decent Chablis is about 15. This is a tenner, and I've got to tell you, I am well pleased with this stuff. It's absolutely delicious.
Jesus Jones just said he ain't quit from last week. You're still drinking from last week. Hey, darling. Hey, darling.
It's altar wine. Jesus. It's altar wine.
He knows you too well. He knows you too well, Mike.
Yeah, because when he passes the plate, all I give him is a pawn ticket back. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Nice to see you, honky tonks. I hope you're all had a good week. I had a survey on my house done today, and and the guy turned up, and I said to him, how's it going to take long? Oh, about an hour. He said, be about 20 minutes. 20 minutes he was here and gone. I said, did you find anything? Your house is 150 years old, he said. He said, I didn't find anything, I'd be astonished. So I said to him, well, he said, I found what you would expect to find for for a house your age. And I said, well, there's one good thing, it's not grade 2 listed yet. Because that's the next thing, Dave. They'll grade 2 list these places, and that's a nightmare. I've had 2 houses with grade 2 listed, and it's the worst thing you can ever do because
No, I don't. No. Who knows? Councils and all that, mate. I'm telling you, I'd give them a right old ship shake there and liven them right up. They've become a little bit unruly. But I tell you what, let's start off with a bit of sad news to all those out there in the truthful world that probably sat and watched this man's videos for many, many years. A man that started this off many years ago called Jordan Maxwell has sadly passed away. So, Jordan, wherever you are, God bless you and thank you for all your efforts. We've come into some information, Mike. I'm going to screen share in a second. One of these things is called a letters patent. Now, what a letters patent is, any of these companies that are presuming to be crown agents, energy companies, police, councils, etc., have to have letters patents. They have to. And if they haven't, then they haven't got the authority and they haven't been sanctioned by the monarch. And this is a real problem for them. Now, a friend of mine in the last few days has been into a fuel station and he said, I've gone on the official site. I found that a cost per litre of fuel without all the fuel duty and excise is 83 pence a litre. They've called the police. The police have turned up because he got 10 gallons or 10 litres and he only paid the 83p a litre. He give a police a piece of paper saying they don't have letters patent for this to be charging these fees. And the police said, yeah, no, we make you right. And they've done nothing about it. So they've let it go because these fuel stations and these ministers don't have letters patent to be able to do what they're doing. They're just doing whatever they're doing. And it's really powerful. You're council charging your council tax. No problem. Have you got a letters patent? Well, no. Well, then you've got no authority to be asking us for what you're doing. It's fabulous, Mike. It's really, really, really good, this letters patent. It's a 1571 letters patent, and you have to have it if you're a crown agent or a legion. You have to have it.
So basically, can I just ask it? So basically, if I was to ring up the council, Maidstone Borough Council tomorrow, say I've just received my council tax for the new year, and I'm wondering, you've levied this charge, fine, absolutely not a problem, but do you have letters patent supporting your claim? Now, the response will be no. I say in that case, it's unenforceable.
It's unlawful then. And an act of treason.
Well, there you are. So well, we all know they're all fucking treasonous. But
They
I mean, treasonous, mate. I mean, we all know about her. But all MPs are treasonous. They all got their because they're all working against. They're all for themselves and not for the people. The only time they're interested in us is every 4 or 5 years when they want to spot across a piece of paper. That's all that matters. I mean, I was looking at the official figures for COVID. People, they're all coming out. That Dr. Hillary the other day on Good Morning Britain come out. He said, 180,000 people died of COVID. No, they didn't. 180,000 people died with COVID, not of COVID. The official figures are under 3,000. That's from December 20 to January 21. People died of COVID was under 3,000. The people over 90 was the highest, about 5,500. Then it was the 70 to 80s was about I think about 400 something, and it just goes down. I mean, the kids up to 4 years old, one child, and they were totally unvaccinated. Okay, now what it becomes interesting is when you get to vaccinations. And that's when you start seeing children dying dying literally of COVID. They are dying of COVID.
Yeah, we got Spear Throwers just joined us, Michael. Say hello to Speary, baby.
Hello.
Evening, chaps.
Hang on, Spear Thrower. You ain't under the hairdryer, are you?
No, why?
Because I just heard a noise like a hairdryer. You're not. I know you look like you come from another planet. I mean, if you just landed, fine. We've got no issue with that. But I mean, you sounded like you just dematerialised. That noise in the background, what is it?
I can't hear it.
I can hear it. Can you hear it, Dave?
Yeah, it's not as loud this week. I think it's some static background or some backfeeding issue. But it's like I don't know, it's like a little frequency noise, isn't it? It's like a clanging.
It sounds like the noise you get in the TARDIS.
Jesus Jones says it could be his computer fan.
Is that a woman?
Right.
No, Jenny will come down. She's going to come down and pay a visit, she said.
Yeah, well, there you go. So what's the week you had?
I've been busy, actually.
What have you been up to?
I've spent most of the day in the garden today and yesterday as well.
I did the garden.
Finishing jobs off that I put down for the winter.
Brilliant.
I cut the grass today.
Michael, he's up. It ain't your birthday, is it?
No, but I've got sounds like aircon. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it says. Air conditioning. Chris has obviously been
aircon on.
Yeah, when I lived in Thailand, I used to do 3 months a year. At night, all you could hear was like air conditioning noises. You're right, Chris. That sounds just like an air conditioning unit. And drives you now. The other thing, well, we can't talk about what actually kept you up, but I mean, what kept you cool was the air conditioning. But I mean, it worked over. But get back to the garden. Getting back to the garden, darlings. Getting back to the garden. Yeah, so I cut the grass back in front today. I did. And, and while I was standing there looking rather, I dressed for it, because I had my designer glass, my designer glass.
Cutting glass. When you cut your grass, you have to do these things.
Oh, you do. You can't stand out the front looking like you've just emptied the dustbins. You've got a public who are looking at you for a fashion icon ideas. Yeah. Who I am wearing, Manano Glarnik. I was only digging the ground. They're only £800 a pair, but there you go. But getting back to the point, but this man turned up and said, "I'm here to do your house for you." I thought it was a pikey. I mean, they robbed me, but he wasn't.
Hands up, Governor. Sorry. Yeah. No, I thought because if he's turned up, he's going to rob your house. You put your hands up.
Yeah, so like that. Yeah. Anyway, so so he came to do my house for me, and he was there. He said, "I'll be an hour," and he was there about 20 odd minutes.
Have you seen the comment I've just put up here, Michael?
Where's that? No.
A guy from Devon had a judge walk out of court today asking him if he had a letter of patent. Judge walked out of court. Hey, we've stumbled on something here, haven't we, boys and girls?
I've got to tell you, Dave.
You're supposed to supply a copy of their oath as well on request. And they don't. And if they can't, there's no judge.
No, they've got a commercial oath. They swear an oath as a commercial oath. They're not. They're bonded. They work under a thing called Praise Pitre, and it's something to do with a public charitable trust. And there's 3 elements that these judges work under. David Sargent's videos on YouTube explain that very, very well. So. Yeah, that's interesting that a guy down Devon. I'm going to talk to you about as well today. We've had yesterday a fabulous result in Maidstone Crown Court, and I'm going to be sharing the screen in a second, and we're going to be talking about the Kent Online story on it, and it is now a judge went against the police yesterday and enforced the rule of law under a jury verdict of not guilty, a unanimous not guilty verdict, and a policeman now, one of Kent Police's officers, constables, has now been put down as an unlawful trespasser, and it's gone against, and the judge actually went against Kent Police. So bailiffs and police can no longer work together, and police are not allowed to assist bailiffs in any way, shape or form. And that has been the law. That is now judgment. That was yesterday. That's now case law. The precedent has been set. So the old bill, Kent Police want to be freaking careful of how they tread now, because I'm telling you now, the man that won that case yesterday is going to be coming after Kent Police now for lots of damages because they battered him black and blue. Now, Bob White, the man that was defending his own home from an unlawful invasion by the police, I can remember talking to him back in the time when this incident happened, and he just sadly lost his wife not too prior before, and it rocked his world. Bob, he's still not over losing his wife now, and but they broke into his house, and this policeman, the sergeant. Not only did he taser him, kicked him in the balls, and actually had Bob's balls in his hand, was twisting his balls in his hands. These people are fucking animals, man. They're animals. Now, will Bob being paid out get any justification with the police? Maybe in his own way, but not really, because the police will continue to break the law, I guess. But it depends, I guess, how hard they get fined, how much this... I mean, if Bob now goes after that individual copper and sues him personally and takes his ass off of him, then I think that should be the way that he goes, because that will then let every other copper know that if you do that, you could lose your house and lose your family and lose everything that you've ever valued in life. And that's what they've been taking from us for years. So let's just have a look.
That's the only way to go, in my opinion, Dave.
Yeah.
So because
Yeah.
if you go after the police force or try and get the entity, you're gonna get nowhere.
Amen.
You go after the man, not the uniform.
Ah! It's him. Did you see that? It's Alan.
Oh, hang on. Let me let him in. So I'm going to just talk about the online thing here. Let me let Alan in. Oh, Alan's in anyway. Right.
He's-
So can you see the
Can I
screen?
just say, before I start, Dave, before I start, where is Alan's sitting? Look, it looks like he's got a little top knot on the top of his head. Look at that. Look, just look at that. Just you look like fucking Chingachgook. You did. No, so the Mohicans. Yeah, yeah.
Right, so here we go. Sheerness man tasered and punched by police who unlawfully entered after Royal Bank of Scotland eviction order. A man who was tasered twice and punched in the face by police while trying to defend his home from repossession has been cleared of all wrongdoing. Bob White, 62, barricaded himself inside his home in Sheerness when officers, bailiffs and locksmiths arrived with a county court warrant for eviction. After refusing to answer the door, police went round the side of the Bricklayers Park Road home and used an enforcer to smash the bottom of the door. Sergeant Russell Bowman, this is the man that's been done now, attempting to enter the house through a gap but quickly recoiled after seeing an aggressive, well, you're not going to be there going, have a cup of tea, darling, Mr. White with a large wooden club, which he claimed the defendant was swinging at him. And this is what bothers me about the old Bill. They always act the fucking coward, don't they? They always give it, oh, poor me, I could have got hurt. Well, I think them days are over, and I think people have got the hump with them per se. After being told, get out of my house by Mr. White, PC Dunn, who was assisting Sergeant Bowman, pulled out his taser and used it twice. Officers then stormed the property where they subdued Mr. White, punching him in the head twice in the process and arresting him on suspicion of a fray. During the hearing at Maidstone Crown Court, now this judge, David Griffith Jones QC, was clapped at the courtroom. Now, I'm telling you now, that judge will even today be reeling in the fact that he was clapped out of the courtroom. Okay, he won't forget that. He won't forget that. So this judge has set a precedent, found police entered the defendant's home unlawfully, and Sergeant Bowman was essentially a trespasser and here's a big message to Kent Police. You ain't fucking hiding behind this anonymity no more, are you? Addressing the jury made up of 6 men and 6 women, he said Sergeant Bowman gave evidence that he had the authority to enter, but he didn't. His entry was unlawful, and he was therefore a trespasser and an unwelcome intruder. It didn't matter then whether he was a policeman. The defendant knew he was a police officer, but he was not required to tolerate unlawful entry. To an Englishman's home is like a castle, as if he was entitled to force him out with reasonable force. Over a 2-day hearing, the court heard how Mr. White had a wooden antique which had been picked up and was smashing around the side of the house, but he denied swinging it at the policeman, claiming Sergeant Bowman made the claims up. Well, it'd be unlike the police to make up things, would it? The jury was shown body-worn footage from police who showed the altercation from February 2019, including blooded Mr. White being arrested. They smashed him up bad, and Bob's a tough fella. Judge Griffith Jones need to decide whether Bob White threatened violence to Sergeant Bowman, whether the force he was used was unreasonable, and whether the individual at the scene would have feared for their safety. In his closing argument to the jury, prosecutor Ian Fonetti said the situation was a world away from an intruder breaking into your house in the night. Mr. White knew that the police were trying to get to his home. He said it was obvious he didn't think Sergeant Bowman was an intruder. It doesn't give him the right to behave like that and swing a club around. Well, it's gone wrong because the police have lost that case, and it was unanimous not guilty verdict by a jury. So fair play to justice, eh?
What did the police not? Are they going to appeal that?
No, I don't suppose they can. It's a unanimous guilty verdict.
Not guilty.
Not guilty, sorry. Well, yeah, and now Bob will prosecute, and I know he will, and I don't blame him. I think Kent Police need to be taught a lesson, and let's hope that all other constabulary. Let me, before I start, right, I want to say we need a police. We need people that stop wrong happening. We do. However, they seem to have lost their way, and they've lost their pride. They've lost any sense of decency. Now, myself, if I and people like us was running this country, we would make sure that these people had the pride placed back into them, and they were just at the rule of law. And I would double their wages. I would take police from 26, 27 grand a year. I'd give them 55, 60 grand a year, but they would only be able to deal with things at the rule of law. Now, the police, interestingly, are not taught law. They're taught how to restrain, how to detain, and how to present people at courts, etc., etc. So when you've got a policeman actually at your house and he's there unlawfully, you could know the law. He ain't interested because he doesn't know, or they don't know. And this is the thing. The police don't know the law. I want to make that very, very clear, ladies and gentlemen. The police don't. The CPS, the courts, and all the other people in the Bar Association, they know this statutory law system, but the police don't. They've not got a clue. They're not taught in any way, shape, or form the law, and that's really sad.
Yeah,
really sad.
But the police have got no right to smash a door in to assist a bailiff.
Well, no, and that's the precedent now. We've got the case number. I would put to anyone out there, I would be printing off that case law and I would be sticking it on your front door, because once they've been warned, and that is now case law, if they continue after that, then they follow in suit. They're just a wrongdoer and a trespasser.
But they're assisting in a civil matter.
As the judge,
they are not permitted to do that. They're there to uphold the peace, not to create a situation where somebody gets their nuts squeezed and gets beaten up by some scumbag policeman or two.
Yeah.
They can't find their fucking own.
Isn't it good news? Isn't that fabulous news? And that, what a beautiful result that was for justice.
Please.
Yeah, to everyone involved as well that helped Bob, that stood by Bob. If I'd have known, actually, I would have gone to the case. Although I've not been feeling very well, probably would have shared many, many germs. But I would have gone. I wish I had.
I don't know how many people are watching this.
53.
I wonder how many of them, if you had a vote, say there was, 50, 100 people watching this, and you had a vote right now of how many people trust the police. How many? None of us do. That's out of the 4 here. That's 100%. So outside, whoever's watching this, how many of them would absolutely trust the police? None. Oh, hopefully.
The thing is, Mike, right? The thing is, it's sad. It saddens me that I don't trust the police. It saddens me that I can't trust the councils, because they just want to railroad us in any which way they can. And this is why we started up the limited companies. This is why we're now David Paul Whitworth, because we've elevated ourselves to their game. Because Maidstone Borough Council are a limited company, and within that body, they have 27 other corporate trading sole partners under different guises and different names. So it's not a for the people, by the people. It's a for-profit limited company with private shareholders and dividends. It's disgusting that we've allowed this to happen.
Just going back a tad, this Cockney Patriots just said we should have our own sheriff's office for the people voted by local residents. Absolutely. I agree with that. I agree with that. That there should be local people running the local districts, policing it, not saying they've got powers of arrest, but policing it and making people feel they know the area, they know the people who live. It's like you, Dave. I just thought we could put a little star beside the fellow, and you could look at that, and you could go round. You could go round. Yeah, he gets in there. Dave Butcher.
Yeah.
PI. I think he's absolutely right. I mean, it's such a simple idea, and there's a lot of people around here who would be prepared. I'm sure where you live, Alan, people would be delighted to know that local people are looking after local people, not the fucking idiots we got in Mason and every other police station who don't care about anybody else other than themselves.
I feel sorry for this young girl that got virtually raped in police custody, where they removed all her clothing off of her. If you remember Tinkerbell, same happened to Tinkerbell in Merseyside Police. She was in custody when they take all male officers, not one female police officer, all male, which equates to rape in my eye. That all male officers stripped her naked in the cells. Now that has got to stop. That is barbaric.
That's
and
disgusting.
Unjustly unlawful.
So what happened to him?
You're trying to take them to court, Tinkerbell, but with Tinkerbell, I haven't heard much from Tinkerbell just recently because of a fall or whatever she had with losing her memory and stuff.
Well, can you see the screen that I've just shared? Yeah. This is the 7 Nolan principles. This is the 7 principles of public life. So whether you're a council, whether you're a councillor, whether you're a policeman, whether you're a JP, a judge, whatever, you're a road sweeper, you're cutting grass, whatever you're doing in the public sector, wherever the public sector is, these are the principles, the 7 principles of public life, right? Now, the first principle is selflessness. So if you're in public life, you're supposed to be a holder of public office, should act solely in terms of the public interest, right? You're supposed to have integrity. Holders of public office must avoid placing themselves under any obligation to people, organisations that might try inappropriately to influence them in their works. Now, here we go, bailiff straight away with the police. So the first thing the police foul on their 7 principles of public life is integrity, because they're not supposed to be influenced by councils. They're not supposed to be influenced by bailiffs. They're supposed to work solely on their own obligations. They should not take decisions in order to gain financial or other material benefits for themselves, their family, or their friends. They must declare and resolve any interest and relationship, right? Now, there's just been a woman that's just shared. She's very pretty, actually. I'm trying to think what her name is. Sian, I'll find her. She did a live with Andrew Devine the other night, and she's campaigning to get her kids back. And she's asking how many of these people are Freemasons, and that Freemasons should have to declare that they're actually in public office, because Freemasonry is a religion, and religion should never, ever be able to take over any of your public things, but it certainly has. So, objectivity, accountability, right? Openness, honesty, and leadership. These are the 7 Nolan principles, the 7 principles of public life. So, are they upholding them 7 principles of public life? No, they're not. They're not. How many councils? You write to a council, oh, you're saying I need to pay this. Fabulous. Can you show me the obligation? We don't need to show you none of that. You just pay it, mother trucker. You do what we tell you. Well, are they working to the 7 Nolan principles? They're not. It's disgusting. I've had enough, guys. I don't know about you. What do you reckon?
Well, Dave, I mean, we've lost, the old world's lost its way, hasn't it?
Yeah, big time.
It's been brainwashed by money, basically, and it's the crave to have more. I've got to have a better pair of trainers because he's got Gucci. I want Hermes. I mean, it's become greed. It's like Margaret Thatcher, I mean, it goes back to the Gordon Gekko, doesn't it? Greed is good. And that's exactly where we are. And everybody's craving more and more and more, more and more. And Putin is the epitome of more and give me everything, which is like, let's take the Ukraine, let's take Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, let's take them all back and put them under Soviet domination. Let's have the old Soviet Union. Unfortunately for Putin, he's now come across a race of people who are just like the Russians, but better. They are a race of people who actually are just as ruthless for Chechens and the Russians put together. And they're the Ukrainians. And now the Russian army seems to me to have lost all cohesion, and it's frightened to be there.
So you're making a strong case there for the Ukrainians. There's quite a bit of information come to light, and there is on both sides. And I guess no one will really ever know the truth because, firstly, we're not there, we ain't witnessing it with our own eyes. But what's your views, Al? Just to put a bit of conjecture in, what do you think is going on in the Ukraine, Alan? Do you think that this is all as we're supposed to see what's going on?
That was a really good use for saying that. That is a really, really good question because I had a little bit of a ding dong with Charles because he paints it like so one-sided.
Right.
And a lot of things, let's put it another way. I don't think the Ukrainians are squeaky clean.
No.
I think things have gone on in that country that people don't know about. There's a lot of money being pumped into Ukraine by foreign governments. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And it is also allegedly, not saying it is, but allegedly the biggest hub in the world for child pornography
and trafficking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I slightly disagree with that because it's not just the Ukraine; it's all the Eastern European states, Romania, Bulgaria. They're all.
Yeah.
Now the difference with the Ukrainians is the American had a lot of money there and working in there.
Well, I said no. I said didn't say that.
The Americans can't come out clean. However, that all aside, it gives nobody the right to invade a sovereign state. Now, I don't give a fuck what the Ukrainians could be the biggest assholes on the planet. They could be scumbags, right? But they've not done fuck all to anybody, okay? They're just living their own lives, and like most people, it's only the politicians that are the scumbags. The people themselves, they don't want to fight the Russians. The Russians probably don't want to fight the Ukrainians because they see themselves as like and like. As far as the majority of Russians are concerned right now, they're being brainwashed by the Putin media. They're being arrested in their tens of thousands and charged and swept away and hidden away. And today on YouTube, on YouTube, there's a guy standing outside of Ukraine, lobbed a Molotov cocktail at the wall and going like this to it. And I thought that's just one man making a stand. He's got this tiny little bottle of petrol. If he throws it, have you never been to Russia? Have you ever seen the Kremlin? It's fucking huge. I mean, but he's made this gesture, and I think that one gesture is the equivalent.
This could be bigger. This could be bigger than just the Ukrainian thing. This could be Putin pushing back against the NWO, the New World Order.
Yeah.
This is what this could be. Let's have a look at Spearthrower. Let's just see what Spearthrower has to say.
It's all a load of shit, Dave. I'll tell you, it's all a load of shit. This has been planned for at least a decade. David Icke told us exactly how it happened in 2015. I've seen people that have been reporting on the bombing of Donbass and Donetsk since 2015. You know, I've seen testimony from the residents that have been bombed by their own fucking people for 8 years, and no one's done fuck all about it. It's funny at the moment that the only border that matters in the world is the Ukraine border, and people think it's a sovereign state, but it's not. It's still part of Russia. Since 1991, they never declared their borders.
The Russians will take the Crimean. Okay, now the Crimean, as far as the Ukrainians are concerned, the Crimean now has been saying that's it. Now that's it. There's nothing we can do about that. We're not going to fight over a piece over a peninsula. We're not going to do that. You know, so they just wiped their mouths and said, well, it is what it is. And you know what we're going to do about it? We can't do anything. But now they can. Now they can. The Ukrainians, with the assistance now of NATO and all the equipment that they're banging into it, and they're banging a load more in now. They are smashing the Russian army. This invincible, massive Russian army is Always what I said it was. It's only as good as the people fighting it. Doesn't matter how good your technology is, but if you've got people there just letting off bangers left, right, and centre and doing nothing, but these Ukrainians, you only have to see the footage of it, and I've seen loads of this stuff. These guys creeping up on these huge Russian T-80 tanks and blowing the fuck out of them. You know, getting up close and personal, and the Russians are running away. They're shit scared. They're hungry. They're like the German army.
Mike. It all depends whose footage you're watching.
Sorry?
It all depends whose footage you're watching.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true. No, because
I don't dispute that.
Hang on. I saw today Russian film, Chechen film of actually rescuing and bringing out of bomb shelters children. These are these awful Chechen people who've come to fight for the Russians. Okay, they've done that. But then again, they're fathers. You know. But there's also film of 155 millimeter howitzer hitting a shell, hitting a car with a man, a woman, and 3 kids in it. While they're trying to get out, while they're trying to flee while they're fleeing, and that was aimed at by the Russians. So when you say the one's each as bad as the others, well, that's what war is. It's nasty.
No, what I'm saying is it all depends whose footage you see. It depends on
it's not about
what story they're going to give.
It's not about the footage.
I've also seen Ukrainian fans going down, I believe.
No, but basically what it comes down is it's whether it's what you draw and what conclusions you draw from what you see and what you read. Now we read the press from the Western side. So I take that with a pinch of salt. So I read it and I think, well, yeah, okay. Then you see film, you see both sides of it, and you try to strike a balance. Okay. But what you do see, you don't see many dead Ukrainians because we're not allowed. I'll be right with you, Alan. We're not allowed to see that. What you do see is Russian airplanes being shot out of the sky, not just 1, 2, not helicopters, jets being shot out of the sky. Today, they blew a fucking boat up. They blew a boat up in the harbour. I mean, so...
You sure that's not more game footage?
Did you see it? That wasn't game footage. Even I said that. That's game footage. It isn't. It's not game footage.
Can we just say in this, there are innocent people involved?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, all armed conflict
testimony I'm seeing comes from Alan.
Yeah, but Spear, in all armed conflicts, you're going to get innocent parties regardless, right?
Yeah.
Look, we often say follow the money. There's that old saying of follow the money. There is so much money, right, been pumped into Ukraine. I hear Mike and I understand him. And then as Spears have been saying, the 8-year conflict that was in the borders of the Ukraine.
Alan, it's NATO promised that they wouldn't move an inch more to the east. And all they've done is, since they've said that, is had 5 waves of expansion. And now Putin is surrounded by NATO.
No, that's not true. No,
it is, Mike. It is.
What NATO have done, they've not encroached at all. Not got one soldier or one of their armoured vehicles at all.
No, what they're doing, Mike, is the countries around Russia are joining NATO, and therefore NATO expands.
How does Ukraine wanted to be NATO, and the NATO said to Ukraine, no, you can't.
Yeah,
you can't join.
I'm not talking recently. I'm talking that over the years since NATO said they wouldn't expand.
Yeah, but that's all,
the peace talk.
That's all propaganda. That's all propaganda. That doesn't mean anything. It's like saying, "Oh, we're going to like you've got this guy on Russian television going, the West has got to be careful. We're ready to launch nuclear weapons."
I'll tell you one thing. Unless we all fly out there with flak jackets on ourselves and see it with our own eyes, this is all fucking propaganda anyway.
Yeah. And we're too good at it ourselves. We've been in a propaganda war for the last 2.5 years ourselves.
When Saddam Hussein was up to his tricks, the newspaper tabloids put out all these bombs laid out on thingies saying he's 5 minutes away. He's going to hit us within 5 minutes. It was a load of bullshit. And that's back in the 90s. So unless you are there, unless you are witnessing it yourself, you cannot cannot confirm whether something's right or wrong or true or facts or lies. You can't.
Well, okay, so let's put it this way.
You can't because you don't have the material.
Why is it?
You
No,
don't.
don't argue.
No, all I'm saying is we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, why have 3 million people fled? Why have got 3 million and a growing population leaving the Ukraine? That's not population. That's terror.
But
That's
who do we know that's been at and seen that happening?
No, but we know it's happening because Poland. You don't have to go to Poland to see the refugee station. You have to go to a couple of these countries.
Yeah, but we haven't been to
Who's
Poland.
made them terrified?
What news station are you watching, Mikey?
That's the thing. What news station are you watching?
I didn't hear that, Alan. Sorry.
What news station are you watching?
I watch it. I don't watch the BBC. Who
Well,
does?
what I'm saying to you as well. Let me just come in for a second, guys. What I'm saying, some of that footage, right, is from Syria, it's from Afghanistan. Some of the vehicles you've seen that have been blown up and what have you, some of the stills, some of the photographs, some of the footage, and some of the video. Listen, the biggest weapon of all, or biggest weapon of mass destruction, is fucking corruption.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
Well, in that case, you're in a part of the world which is full of it. It goes from well, right around the world. It's totally corrupt.
Oh yeah, of course it is. So, but we read a paper, or
you can't just say that. It's Ukraine's corrupt because it is. What's Russia? Corrupt. Look at the
point
Baltic
I'm making.
Everywhere in Eastern Europe. Look at India, Pakistan, China, America. This country, every country in the world is full of corruption. Everybody's got their nose in the trough, except the people who fucking pay for it, which is us.
But it's
Do you know what's going to happen? There's going to be no winners of this. You know that, don't you? Because we're all going to be losers. We're all going to be losers on this.
No, we're not. No, there's not. You forget the most important thing. Out of this makes millionaires. Who do you think's supplying all the arms?
The Brits.
Where's the money? Who's making the weapons? They can do it for nothing.
Well, apparently the Russians have been flying cruise missiles. Apparently, there was three of them set off. But what I failed to understand is how the fucking hell have Russians got hold of cruise missiles?
Oh, they've had them for years.
Yeah, but
they got, as soon as the Americans got, they nicked the paintings and
but did they? I mean, cruise missiles in Russia wouldn't be called cruise missiles, would they? It's only the Americans and the Allies that would have the cruise missiles.
It's a guided missile, Dave. That's all it is. It's a guided missile.
What I can see at the moment, the only thing I can see is that there's only one world leader right now standing up and promoting Christian family values and way of life.
And that's Putin. It's an interesting subject, and I do appreciate everyone's input.
Are you sitting there honestly telling me that you think that Vladimir Putin is supporting honest Christian lives?
No, Dave. Mike, what I'm saying is the only person saying the words on a world stage, and when he does his address, he doesn't address all the world leaders or NATO. He addresses the people, and he talks about God. He talks about Christianity. He talks about men and women, not this transgender bullshit. He talks about everything that's going wrong in the West, and man, he's spot on.
I'm going to say
whether he believes it or not, I don't know.
Are you delusional? This is the guy that's in the KGB. Okay,
whatever the truth is, it's well above our pay grade.
Murders. The guy is implicated many murders. He sends people to this country, Salisbury, to poison. We're going to
change the subject now.
I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is the words that he's saying.
Hey, look, this is interesting. Before we change the subject to move on to something a bit more sweetness and light, because it is Mother's Day and all these little weekends are coming up. It's interesting that there's four of us in this room, and I lit the fuse at the beginning when I just asked, and then I stopped Mike and asked what Alan's thoughts were. So just the four of I'm sitting here kind of very calm at the minute, but just with four of us, the tension that's just built up over the last 10 minutes is deep. And that's just us all chatting on here without what goes on in the news. So that's what I'm saying. That's what these world leaders get people to do. They get us all to pick up amongst ourselves, and they sit back and laugh their asses off. and that's the truth.
Yeah, well, that's some degree that's true, Dave. But then again, isn't that the right way? I mean, without heated debate, without sort of discussions like this, you never get anywhere. You just sit there.
But the point I'm making, see, even now, it's the triggering. It's the trigger that they're pulling, and your trigger's being pulled, and Spears' trigger's being pulled, and Alan's not too bad, but it's just that pull of the trigger. And the point I just said before we move on to something different is we don't know for sure within our hearts exactly what's going on. Yes, we can read it in the newspapers. Yes, we can watch it on the TV, Sky and RT. But do we know for a fact that it's happening? No, we don't, because we're not there. And that's the fact in the matter. We're not there. We don't know. If a bomb was to land in your back garden from the Germans, you could qualify that a bomb did land from Germany in your back garden from a 101 fighter plane or whatever, because you've seen it, you felt it. But the rest of it, whatever goes on in Saddam Hussein's world, whatever goes on in Libya, whatever goes on all around, we don't know because we're not there. If you're in the army, you get half the truth, I guess, but we're not there. So we're all just sitting here rolling our own opinions around, and that's just the truth of the matter. We don't know, mate. That's the thing.
Well, that's called democracy. That's called democracy and free speech, and that's what you're entitled to do because that's what we fight. That's what we fight for.
But
that's what
it is just opinions.
Me and Spearthrower can argue that with Alan, sitting there screaming on it, and then we say, right, we're done with that, so we go to the pub now and have a drink, and that's what you do. Yeah. You've that's what you do, and that's the way it should be. That you should be able to have the argument, shouting on the screen, whatever you want, and say, well, yeah, you probably, I see that, right? But at the end of it, you say, well, you know, we have to agree to differ. I'll have a lager.
That's it.
I need my safe space.
Zevi Zirkle's just hit it right on the nose. He said, "You're all playing into their game. It's all bollocks," and he's right. He's true.
He's actually put some brilliant comments in there tonight.
He's the top man, Zev. He's the top.
You know, he's put some really good comments in there. I've been watching the comments coming up, and I'll tell you what, fucking hell, bang on, man.
It'd be interesting to find out why this judge has run out of a Devon court after he's been asked to produce his letters patent, isn't it?
Yeah, that's wicked.
Yeah.
Gone.
He'll be back in a second. He's probably just gone to top his beer glass up or something. It is. It's a tough one. I know that this is all stuff's going on, but I've said for many years, you know, England's a little country, and the truth of the matter is we can't even look after our own fucking kids and stop them being abused by the system. We've got a victim survivor.
Anyway.
No, that has to be reckoned with as well, because at the end of the day, you know, we were talking about how the fucking police have gone right off the fucking rails, and they're doing things, and they're a fucking law unto themselves, and have been for a fucking long time, right? And some of the things they've been doing. Look, I keep saying this, right? For people that haven't watched it, you need to fucking watch some of these things. I know it's a shit station, right? But the Line of Duty was a fucking John Wedge's story to a fucking T. It was Teresa Dickon and all that, and we know what happened to her. She ended up, and she was employed as the fall guy.
She's still in power at the moment. Her term's not come to an end. She might have been sacked, but she's not fulfilled her duty yet. She's hanging on until whenever. This may be the beginning of the new financial year. I don't know. But I don't, because someone phoned up the other day and they said, she said no. She said Cressida Stick is still the commissioner for police.
Can I change the subject?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, completely change the subject. I read something the other day. It's called about these Jewish no-hide laws.
Noahide, yeah, from Noah.
Now, apparently, the President of the United States signs this every time he comes into office, and I believe that makes calling the name Jesus in name is blasphemy, and you can be decapitated with no appeal.
Yeah, I heard that.
No, advice is the beheading of Christians.
Yeah,
I can't see that happening. Noahide law is just the Old Testament. It's the laws.
So
it's all it is. Yeah, it's Moses.
Why did the Jews go? Why did they get the President of the United States, and they does it? Even this one's probably done it to do this to do this, which makes the mention of Jesus a capital offence or liable to be decapitated. That's apparently what it says. Well, I was reading it, and I thought so. The only person I can ask here is my boy sitting up in the left-hand corner, looking at my screen.
It won't. It won't happen, Mike. I can't see that happening because throughout all Europe, throughout England, we love freedom. We love our lives. We generally go along with government institutions and their policies just for an easy life because we want to sit at home, watch the daffodils grow, watch the TV, have a beer, and that's it. But the minute that they start coming down and getting all draconian like this and start actually ending people, and then, mate, listen, there ain't no way that the cognitive people of this country are ever going to tolerate that at all. I mean, the people are on a knife edge as it is over certain things. And this year you're going to see so many of them wake up because they're not going to be able to pay their energy bills, they're not going to be able to pay their mortgages. There's so much going to come this year. So they might talk that they want to bring the Noahide laws in and stuff, but is it going to happen? No, I can't see it, mate. I don't even think the NWO get to their end dream in any case. I think it's game over for them.
But Dave, do what thou wilt shall be the old law, Dave. You know that?
No, they won't. No.
Did you see that bit I put up about my culinary skills?
What you been cooking now?
Well, I was cooking, and I thought I thought it was an onion. Right?
Oh, you've done yourself a daffodil bulb.
Were you shaving?
Yeah.
You were shaving at the time.
Myself, and I went to the doctor and he said, "You'll be all right by the spring."
Oh, you're really funny. I thought when you were shaving, you thought about an onion.
Oh, Alan, that's right funny.
For you. For you. I don't know.
He'll be all right by the spring. He's what a light bulb, right?
He's been waiting all night to say. I bet all day he's been thinking I'll get that in at some point. It's like Jeremy Clarkson. They used to say they'd be on Top Gear. They would bet someone. They would bring something in like carpet slippers, or it'll be like old knickers or something into it somehow. And they would just for a bet, and that's true. And they do that in a lot of programs apparently. I'm just throwing these one-off comments. It's quite alarming.
Oh dear.
That was good for you, Alan. That was good. Anyway, how's your new boiler? You got it all sorted out now?
Yeah, it's all sorted now. It's no leaky poos. It's all right. Sounds bad.
Did he leave a leak on it? Did he?
Yeah, fuck me. There was an old. I've still got some of them. You know the old swaving tools. We used to scrape the old 22 and 15 mil out to make one join.
I've still got them, yeah.
Yeah, I still fucking got them somewhere. But the pressure, with combi, it's air and pressure. Fucking hell, it blew one of the joints.
There are women watching this. Talking about old boilers is getting them terribly upset. and also dealing with nuts and all kinds of stuff with utensils is beyond the pale. So you need to change the subject because that's not.
Oh, Jesus Jones is saying Cotton Patriots. I've got rabbits galore running around. So I just had to set traps up. I sound like Bob Fleming here. Can make some new slippers too. Sorry about that. That was like Morse code. Shut me. I'm going to turn my mic off now for a second.
You don't make slippers out of rabbits. They're gloves. You make gloves out of rabbits. Don't you? You do.
And hats and coats.
You do. You make gloves out of rabbits.
You're better off catching a couple live and farming them. They're really good food source. They eat anything, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. And they're really good. They're really good sweet meat as well, rabbit.
Do we think the food chain's going to run out? Is the food chain going to get a little bit slippery?
It's part of the plan.
It's part of the plan.
All part of the plan. It's down on the Rockefeller plan as well from 2010.
What was that? I didn't hear that.
Food, fuel, and power shortages. They're all part of the plan.
What, to kill us all?
Well, just to control us, to make us as miserable as we can and dependent on them to bring in welcome the New World Order. It's all part of the plan to break this down.
Dave, I went for a job in Asda. I looked at his knob and at the checkout and they said, try rolling that fucker back.
Fuck, wicked, man, wicked.
And this is a family show too. Goodness.
Oh, yeah. Stop it, Mikey. Stop it.
Yeah, it's a terrible.
Oh, it's after the watershed.
Yeah, it's Mikey. It's his football team. He's
He's back on the ring now.
Talking of football, I mean, it's very good, isn't it? I mean, you've seen the Americans that are trying to buy Chelsea.
Yeah. I see Terry's wants to go into a share with a consortium.
Yeah, 3 billion he wants, doesn't he? 3 billion
Yeah.
quid. Plus there's 1.5 billion owed to him.
Yeah, it's a lot of dosh, isn't it?
Yeah. But, I mean, but Abramovich is the guy who used to make the tanks for the Russian army.
Yeah. They've come a long way since Ken Bates' pound, didn't they?
I've got a friend of mine, Eddie Wilcox, who's a real Chelsea nutcase. And when Ken Bates was in charge, Eddie was standing, and Eddie was like, had a big business doing it, and Ken Bates started giving it, and I thought Eddie was going to fucking kill him, but really give it back to him. Ken Bates just went like his sphincter just, you know, whatever he was holding in, went looked back further up for 2 weeks, because Eddie really sort of. But Ken Bates was awful for Chelsea.
Yeah, and Leeds.
Yeah,
He's dead now, isn't he? He's dead, isn't he, Ken Bates?
I think he is. Yeah.
Are there enough football players left to make a match? Because they're all dropping like flies, aren't they?
Well, Shane Warne. Oh, apparently, I was talking to my mate today, and he said if anyone's had this stuff and they're worried about the razor particles and stuff, he said apple cider vinegar. He said the acidity in the apple cider vinegar might get rid of all the iron bits and rust them all down. He's also said get TENS machines and use a TENS machine on your body all day if you don't feel too good on a low pulse. He said it acts like a Bob Beck machine, the old Bob Beck.
Are you asking us to use vibrators?
No, not other ones.
No. You had a tear in your eye there. I saw it was definitely a tear in your eye.
Negatory.
You were going back. You were back. Because you paid for Primesh doesn't give you carte blanche.
Reynolds, you're a slippery bastard.
I am very slippery. I was true, actually.
Power
I'm having the power cuts and the 3-day week.
Anyway, it's my birthday tomorrow, so you be good to me.
Oh, is it your birthday? How old are you? 40 what?
61 tomorrow.
Are you
You don't look it out.
Have you sent the check, Alan?
Do you know how old I am tomorrow?
No, have you sent the check?
Negative.
Right, you're 70.
No, negative.
It's his
67
birthday
tomorrow.
It's my
3
birthday.
years off my 70th birthday.
It's my birthday on the 5th of April. You look like Uncle Festus. You do look like Uncle Festus. You do. Doesn't he? You look like Uncle Festus.
You know what I like about you, Mikey?
Nothing.
Fuck all.
You're not been the same since you bought me pie and mash. You've been really horrible.
It's more of a Murray Wall.
Yeah.
You're coming down.
Birthday. Thank you. Someone's wished me a happy birthday.
We're not going to wish
you, guys. You didn't say nothing about my top. You didn't say if you like my top or not.
No,
very nice.
I'm not gay, you know. Are you taking hormone tablets?
Why?
Well, yeah,
I've got prep needs or something.
No, because you kept talking about your top. I thought you were growing stuff. I don't know.
No. I'm talking about me wake up top.
Okay. Anyway, why we talking about you? How are the moles?
I ain't had no problems lately.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
how's your wife? How's the wife?
David, that's another question. She's, I managed, well, it was a right blinding day today, so I went there and I said to him, look, it's such a nice day out here. Is there any chance of getting her into a chair and putting her in the conservatory so she can get a bit of air? Because she's lying down all the time. And I said, you know, like, that's not going to help her at all. And I said, she's got a lot of mucus on her chest, and if she sits in the upright position, it might help her. Anyway, cut long story short, they got her all the way, and they got the hoist, and they lifted her out of bed, put her in a chair, and we sat in the conservatory for 2 hours. And then a woman came in and she said, "Does your wife want a haircut?" I said, "Oh, she's desperate for a haircut." And I paid 15 quid for her haircut. And yeah, she has spits and farts. She like 1 minute she's okay, and the next minute she's phoning me up. And she's phoning and saying, "I'm sat outside in the chair waiting to walk back in my room. When are you coming to see me?" I said, "I was with you for 2 hours. I left. The hairdresser came to see you." She said, "Come and see me now." And she said, "Come home." And I said, "I am home. I've only just got in from to see you." So it's yeah. I cried about it the other day because I took my sister to see her Monday, and my sister burst into tears.
Oh, mate. Bless your heart. Bless her heart.
It's not easy. People don't understand. We talk about child abuse, and we talk about every major subject, and we talk politics, and the world agenda when we do these shows. But behind it all, we are real people.
Yeah.
We are human beings.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, mate.
And we have lives, and what goes on in our lives is a part of everyday life. And unfortunately, we live in a really, really shitty place at the moment.
Yeah, but life does go on. You know.
But we live in a shitty place, Mike, and I can't see it getting any better.
Well, let's be optimistic.
Yeah, that's a big optimism.
That's all you can be. Otherwise, you drive yourself fucking nuts.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've been in a situation for the last 2.5 years. If it hasn't already sent you fucking nuts, it nearly did. It's not over yet, not by a long shot.
But you've got to keep going. You've got to keep believing, haven't you?
Well, I mean, you've had most of your jabs, and you've been quite lucky. A lot of people have had the jabs.
Only 2.
2? Well, they're talking about fucking 5 jabs now, aren't they?
Yeah. Hang on. The Cockney Patriots had Dalston Cooks's pie and mash shop was the dad. No, it wasn't. No, absolutely wrong. The daddy was Manzy's in Deptford High Street, okay? Because that was the first one. And as a little boy, which is in the 1950s, Cockney Patriots, I don't know how old you are, but I used to go there, and in 1950s, it was the best pie and mash I ever had. And then there was, Dave would tell you, there's Manzy's in Peckham Mill Street.
Oh, yeah.
Armids in Walworth, just off Walworth, Westmoreland Road. It's just off Walworth Road, Stratby 17, near the Elephant. And then one we went to, which is Manzy's in Towerbridge Road.
Towerbridge Road, yeah.
Pretty good. But the daddy of them all was Manzy's in Deptford High Street. It's still there. So
is it still there?
Yeah.
There's a good one. I've been to a good one in, is it, shit, I'm trying to think of it, what it's called. It's East London way. I'm trying to think of the name of the place.
In Dalston, that's what he's just talking about, Dalston. One in Dalston.
There's one in, I'm trying to think of the name of the fucking place. It's not far from Brentwood.
Brentwood. Oh, going that past Dagenham, you mean?
Yeah. Trying to think of the name. It's not Redbridge.
Redbridge. Yeah, Redbridge.
I don't know. I can't think of the place.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's a big place with a huge roundabout, a massive roundabout, and it's got a big shopping centre. Is it Redford?
It's Redbridge.
I don't know what it is, but it's out that way anyway. I mean, I remember coming off the A41 and coming into it that way, and Brentford was to the left, and it was to the right.
Brentwood. I'm sorry, I thought you said Brentwood. You said it's Brentford. No,
Brentwood.
Brentford. Going out Brentford. Oh, Slough. Well, you guys Slough, Brentford, coming in Chiswick.
Well, there used to be all over the place. Like Steeple Plain, Leytonstone. There used to be a really good one in Goldhawk Road, Shepherd's Bush. There used to be brilliant ones. There used to be 2 in Fulham, one down Wandsworth Bridge Road and one down North End Road in Fulham. And there used to be a good one in Waterloo Cut. Waterloo Cut used to be a good one down there.
Wasn't that a stall though? Was that a stall?
No, that was a right proper shop. It had the brickwork and everything. You remember the old brickwork they used to have?
Yeah,
I meant it. The one we went into in Towerbridge Road.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There used to be. I'm trying to think. There was a stall that sold pies, but it wasn't pie and mash. But they did the best meat and potato pie ever ate, and that was at Waterloo.
Do you know what they do? There's a boozer. That boozer in Whitehall. I don't know if it's the Red Line or whatever it is. There's a boozer there that does pie and mash. It's right there. It's about 13 notes.
That's the Red Line.
Right? And they say Old East End pies.
I can't even pronounce Old East End pies.
Yeah.
Not like weekend.
Where does that come from then?
Well, yeah, that's it. I lost my job because I had no to the jab. My body, my choice. Absolutely right answer.
Yeah, that's my mate. Hang on. That's Carl Jones. Carl is Cole's a paramedic. I just want to get this.
Oh, right.
He was a paramedic for 25, 30 years. Now, here's the thing, right? He phoned me about 3 years ago, and it was I think it was a Friday or a Saturday night. It was about 10 o'clock, and my missus said, "Who's that?" I said, "It's Cole." So I picked up the phone, and he was in his ambulance, and he said, "Can I chat with you, Dave?" Because apparently where he goes drinking up Midlands, him and his mates, rather than watch the telly in the pub, they're watching my live streams, right? I'm thinking, oh, fuck me, here we go. So anyway, he told me, he said, Dave, he said, you know, I've been a paramedic for 25, 30 years. I said, yeah. He said, what would you say if I told you that the NHS was killing people? And I went, yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, but I wouldn't disbelieve you. And he said, well, let me tell you now, they're ending people. He said, and I've witnessed it with my own eyes. And because he wouldn't take the jab and that, and he just wouldn't move on it, they let him go a few months ago. So, Carl, mate, listen, we all love you and we appreciate you.
Yeah, great respect, Carl.
Yeah, big respect.
Great respect, mate. A man is given so much and ended up with nothing.
Yeah.
You know, from the people that he was loyal to. I mean, that's loyal service to me.
Yeah. He said, Mary Hill Hospital, he said, there's people going in there that have fallen over, had cuts and bruises. He said, and they're going out in body bags. He said, and he told me that he got a girl going in her 20s. She had some complications. He said, when the police, the doctor turned up, he'd give her this jab and she died in front of him.
Oh.
And, yeah, mate. Yeah.
That Manuka honey is supposed to be right good stuff.
Yeah, Manuka's very good. Can you see the comments, Alan?
Yeah, yeah, I can, yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Tort Law, Chrissy Morris is in the house. All right, gorgeous. He's the best looking parent I've ever seen. Apart from you, Al. But I think Chrissy's lost his job now. He's no longer in the because I mean we could show his video of when he went into Malden District Council and he said I won't be making any votes on council tax because council tax is unlawful and there's no mandatory obligation for anyone. Yeah. Anyway, I think the council, I think they've
I played that on the show, Dave.
Yeah, God bless you.
Yeah.
The thing is, they won't stop Chrissy. His voice is too big, man. You know.
But that's it.
Yeah, it's very, very. You know what he said, David, is so true. I mean, the way the treatment Kathy got in, and they started telling me what they were going to do with Kathy, and I said, "Hang on a minute, right? I'm power of attorney. You do not take decisions on behalf of my wife." And I ended up getting pals involved and threatening that I would serve the woman that was trying to tell me, right, I will fucking serve you. Do not speak to me like that. What they wanted to do is put in a fucking wheelchair, take her to the front door, which is automatically in a wheelchair. As soon as they automatically open, they wanted to fucking tip her out. She came out of that hospital worse than she went into it.
There's honestly,
you should have seen the rack from my. I wish I could share and show the people what my wife's stomach looked like when she left that hospital. It was, yeah.
Oh, mate. Cockney Patriots shared here, you're awake but paralysed and can't feel your body. He said it's a horrible feeling. He's talking about Midazolam. Fuck's sake, man.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, we've got 6 minutes left, guys. Have anyone got any good news? Have we had any nice things happening? Anyone's had a touch somewhere down the line, anywhere?
There's been a few wins.
I was just
hang on, whoa. Spear for us, say what?
There's been a few wins for the police in the States. I think it was the Navy SEALs got a win in the Supreme Court against the jabs. but that's rolling down as well.
Wow, that's good.
Good on the Seals. But I think that's the same as who else did that? Some was it some firefighters or somebody did exactly the same? They refused to take the vaccine, and they were told if you didn't take it, you'd lose your job. So they were all going to walk out, and then they were shitting themselves. So they pulled back on it.
It's like there's all this controversy at the moment about this man dressed up as a woman, calls himself a transformer, and he's taking part in all the swimming competitions and he's beating all the women. But he had a little bit of egg on his cock the other day because a woman actually did beat him to the pit, and he was ranked as a male swimmer something like 496th in his class, and then he was winning the women's. But the thing for me is, if you've got a man turned up and you're all women and you're due to jump off the board and compete in some super swimming gala, if I was one of the girls, I'd say to all the other girls, fuck this shit. Let's not bother. Let him just do the race on his own. And then all the people pushing that agenda of, oh, you must have him, is inclusive. When they're not getting no cash, then they'll all be going to the girls, oh, please come back. Please come back. We're going to stop this nonsense. I think that's what people
Did you see the picture where he's standing on the podium or he's standing there and you can see clearly he's Corey? He looked like he had a popcorn on.
He got a lovely looking cock, I've got to be honest.
Did you hear about DeSantis in the States, Dave?
Sorry, Spearthroat.
DeSantis in the States. Is it Ron DeSantis, the governor of one of the states there?
Florida.
He's running.
Florida, yeah. He'll be my governor next year.
Yeah, he refused to recognise the winner because it was trans.
Jesus.
Cockney Patriot wants to come on next week. Cockney Patriot wants to come on next week, David.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Bring me on next week, Dave, please.
Yeah, we will do.
Tell me when you like. Do you know, if 100,000 people died, pensioners died, right? And they cost just a derisory, say, 15,000 quid a year, right? Just saying. That would save the government $1.5 billion a year, right? That's $1.5 billion. That's what they would say per year. So if they live for 10 years, that's like, that's 15 billion quid they've saved after 10 years. That's 100,000 pensioners died because they've topped them and got rid of them through fucking COVID.
Can you see the chat, David?
Yeah.
Chris just put the point in.
Yeah, no, Chris's police crime sentencing and court bill stopped in the Lords. Look, when you analyse the pensioners cost this, they cost that, the youngsters cost this, they cost that, there's just one very simple answer to this. What is the thing of value? Is it us, the people, or is it a piece of paper that says £20 sterling or promise to pay? What's the value? Where the value? And where the equity? Where the equitable value? Us, the people, the living, breathing soul. There is nothing more valuable than that in the world. It can't. It's so valueless. It is priceless. Life is priceless. So when they talk about, well, the pensions are cost, so what? It's just a piece of paper. Is it not just a piece of paper?
Dave, it's only priceless to us, not to our elites. We're garbage. We're just there to be used and used up and got rid of and replaced. Yeah.
To them, maybe, but not to the rest of us.
We're the slaves that keep them in luxury.
Well, then it's time for a change then, isn't it?
Of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, sweep away this bullshit and let's bring people who understand exactly what being a human being is. These people don't live in our world. They live in some fucking club or at Westminster.
Well, some of them do. I mean, Chrissy Morris is a local councillor.
I'm talking the ruling elite, Dave. The real ruling elite.
Well, the ruling elite. No, but the ruling elite have panned their powers out to local. All councils have their own. They said, look, you just do what you've got to do. We're not really interested. So Chrissy is a local councillor, but he's got his feet firmly on the ground. He's a man of the people, and he's tried his hardest.
Got nowhere.
and he's got somewhere because he's got exposure. It won't be the end of him in one way or another. He'll carry on doing what he's doing, and I wish the people of his area will get bolstered, get behind him, and get it out there so much in the public that the council have got no choice but to reinstate Chrissy to the greatness that he was doing. So, you know, the MPs, my missus's grandfather, George Woodhouse, was a Conservative MP for Parliament. He lived in a tiny little 2-bed house in Bristol, and they had a nice life, but nothing too fabulous. So some of them do live in the real world, and I'm quite fascinated as to why they can do the things they do.
Yeah, but you're talking about a time, Dave, when MPs weren't professional politicians. MPs went to work in the afternoons. They sat in the House of Commons in the evening. They were businessmen. They were doctors. They were all kinds of weird ones. But they were qualified people who understood about business and understood about people. What you got now are people coming out of university, never run a fucking company, never done that, never done pick that up and put it down there for money. All they've ever been is politicians. That's all they've ever done. And they have no understanding what it's like to live outside of that bubble. And
career politicians. Yes, career. We're just coming up at 16 minutes past, guys. I'm not going to be around much longer. I need to get my head down. I'm not too well.
I'm overcome looking at Alan.
Oh, David, are you going to be free this weekend?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Yes,
yeah, well, it's a good time for you, bro.
Do it Saturday because Sunday's Mother's Day, and I'm going to try and hopefully, if I feel a bit better, zoom down there and see her. No problem. We'll get your limited company done. Guys and girls, thank you very much for your conjecture today. We got a bit spicy there not too long ago, but it was a good one, and it was fresh, and it was good debate, and things need to be ironed out. I want to thank everyone from Facebook, YouTube, and the Wake Up Chat.
I love you, Reynolds. I think you're a fucking top geezer.
I'm not having oral sex with you.
Hey!
All right, Dave.
Again.
No.
Yo, microphone check, make it a microphone check. Give it a microphone, I make it a microphone dead. Don't step to me, newbie, I could truly be moody. I could have played the fucking Grinch in the movies. I've been a part-time shadow cat, part-time. That is not a guy that I would ever want to try to battle rap. Snap, crackle, pop, mind fried to a crisp, make an MC into